Welcome back to Louisville Live this morning. I'm Curry Adams, guest host today on the show.
And it's good to have you here. It's good to have the esteemed Dr. Becky Antle here as Ricky
University
Jones.
Scholar.
University Scholar. Ricky really put you on a high pedestal there.
He really did. I think that was a little more than I deserved.
Yeah,
so.
We got junior professor Dr. Eli here with us, according to Ricky. But no, Dr. Eli is with us almost every Monday. We take phone calls, we take emails, we take a lot. But today we're going to focus on a topic I think a lot of you deal with every day, and that's how do you talk with your kids in the elementary grades, before they get to be teenagers and do all the Hannah Montana stuff. How do you deal with kids who are 5, 6, and 7?
I have children that are in this sort of age group, and one that's moving on, so there's kind of a disconnect in how you discipline them. But first of all, I mean, we can't be their friend all the time, right? I mean, wasn't that one of the mistakes parents seem to be making?
Right. We think about discipline is this negative connotation, but really discipline has both what we like to call the kind of the stroke and the kick. How do you nurture and give firm kind of rules and discipline to your kids? So there's a special way we do that, and how you parent a primary school child, first, second, third grade is different than how you do a teenager. So that's what we want to focus on today. So what should they know, Becky, about discipline when it comes to these school-age kids?
Right. Well, one of the things that Eli said is that discipline has a negative connotation, but it really means both. It means to teach, and it includes both the positive and the negative. And so we focus on handing out consequences or punishments for children when they misbehave, when really we need to also look for the times that they're doing it right, when they're engaging in behaviors that we're proud of, when we're doing things the way we want them to, and then encourage and praise and reward them for that. Because if we overlook those times they're doing it right and we're constantly being negative with them, then they get really frustrated and discouraged and they give up.
And I really like what this one part of this full screen here says. The goal is to shape your child's heart and behavior. And that's something that I guess if we can try to remember throughout the day, throughout our parenting, that will really help us to remember to praise the positive as well as discipline the negative.
You have to look for the teachable moment, Kirby. You can, when your child is in the midst of a meltdown, it is not a good time to talk this logic with them. You don't want to match their crazy with a brand of your own. So you have to be calm, and you have to wait for the teachable moments after the meltdown. So we like to talk about consequences, and the first thing about consequences is you have to be consistent. Both you and your child should know what to expect. Kind of, if this happens, this is the natural consequence. So how do we do that?
Is a meltdown, they didn't do their homework, or they broke a window? What's a meltdown? Like, there's got to be different levels, just like you got to have different dispensing of.
I know what those are.
I know what they are. I got an 8-year-old.
We have lots of examples of that. And really what Eli's getting at is we have all kinds of behaviors that go wrong with our children. And the specific consequence that we apply to each of those behaviors isn't as important as having a plan and following that plan consistently. And if you have a spouse or a partner or a co-parent, making sure they're on the same plan. And so you're consistently handing out a specific consequence that you decided ahead of time, not in the heat of the moment, but ahead of time. You think of the behaviors you're really struggling with your child, the areas of their heart or their behavior that you're trying to shape. And you might even write it down. And you come up with a specific set of consequences that go along with each, and you know that's your plan, and your child knows that's the plan, and your partner, your spouse knows that's the plan, and you follow it every time. Because when we're not consistent, then kids don't believe that we mean what we say.
Right. The worst type of enforcement is partial reinforcement. So sometimes you follow through, sometimes you don't. So what you need to do is have, not in midstream, once your child is acting up, you get on the same page with your co-parent or whoever's helping you raise the child if you're in a single parent family. You talk about it behind the scenes without the child there, because even young kids, they're pretty good at wedging themselves in between mom and dad. If they know they can exploit, if they know they can exploit an inconsistency, or they can get mom angry at dad, or maybe the divorced family, they can get their mom and dad arguing, then they can usually kind of fly under the radar or get away. So you want to talk to your parent or co-parent behind the scenes.
What I want to do, I want to put the number up here because it's important. We only got Dr. Eli and Dr. Antle with us a short period of time, but you can go to elikaram.com if you want to talk with them. We're not taking phone calls today, but you can call. And you see BeckyAntle.com up there too. You can go there if you have problems. They want to hear from you, and they can put you in that right direction. And let's talk a little bit about what both of you work with conflicted and couple problems, low intimacy, and it leads all the way down to parenting when you have problems with the couples at home.
You have to think of it this way: if the parental the base at the beginning is not strong, if the couple part of the relationship is not strong, it's harder to do these things, getting on the same page with parenting we're taught to. So Becky and I believe, as marriage and family therapists, that there are normal transitions that all families go through. So you're going to parent a child, a grade school child, differently than you would a teenager, differently than you would an infant. So these are developmental shifts that are predictable. So there's no shame or stigma coming in to see a marriage and family therapist. You have to know when these normal family life cycle transitions happen.
And I want to go back to what Kirby was saying as well. As Eli said, we go through different developmental stages with our families, and it's important to not get ahead of ourselves. We want to be our child's friend too soon. And these discipline years from about 2 to 12, when they're in preschool and elementary school, that's not the time to be their friend. That's the time to be their parent and to really teach them what you expect from them, because the time for being friends will come later, and that's sort of our reward for doing this hard work early on. If we do the hard work now and teach them what we expect of their behavior and why, it's important they understand why we have certain expectations of them, then we get the reward of being their friend down the road.
Two experts here, Dr. Becky and Dr. Eli. They'll be on international TV one day.
That's
We're glad to have them with
Yes.
you. Dr. Eli, thanks for bringing your esteemed colleague, the senior professor in, okay?
All right, thanks.
Bring her back again.
All right.